Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Let's go over the 3-game NBA slate for today on Draftkings. And I was really disappointed when I opened up the Draftkings app before I did my research for this slate because I only saw it was a 3-game slate. And I hate anything below 4 games. I don't even like 4-game slates that much. So 3 games is just, man, it's better than a 2-game slate. But man, I hate 3-game slates. And usually on Mondays we get like 7 to 10 games. So very, very disappointed that we only have 3 games. They're not even really 3 good games either. So pretty sucky overall. I'd probably recommend playing a little bit lighter than usual and just wait for Tuesday. I don't know how many games are on Tuesday, but I'd have to imagine it's way more than 3. It's probably, since there's not really anyone playing today, I have to imagine it's going to be one of those bigger slates. So I'm looking more forward to Tuesday than I am this slate, but hey, we're going to be breaking it down anyway. So before we continue, as always, if you guys could just leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You also follow me over on Twitter. I'm at Pennell16. And if you're just over on Patreon, it's always much appreciated. And we actually reached my goal. I set this goal like when I first made my Patreon. I said I had like a 100 Patreon goal, and we finally reached that yesterday. And we actually surpassed it. We got up to like 110. So I don't know why. I guess a lot of people were interested yesterday. So I do appreciate all the support over there. Obviously, it really helps me out. I do put a lot of work into my extra content every single day, every single week, depending on the sport. We got a lot of exciting things going on. We have NASCAR that's going on every week, and that's by far the most popular thing I do. I had a couple people take down some contests, multiple thousands of dollars today off the NASCAR content. So I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I feel like I do a pretty good job teaching NASCAR DFS. So if you do want to sign up, it's all available there in the link in the description below. And then for NBA, I obviously do that every single night. And then in less than a month, like less than 20 days actually, we have MLB coming up, and I have a huge MLB spreadsheet. I love baseball so much. Gonna be going over that every single day in addition to these NBA videos until the NBA season is over. So it's gonna be a very busy time, but I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, love baseball. I got a huge data sheet for that. I'm debating on whether I want to do an article or not. If that's something that's in demand, doing an article, I will do one because I just enjoy baseball, so I don't mind writing about it. So yeah, we have all that to look forward to. And if you want to sign up, like I said, links in the description below. And I also have an all sports package where you could save $10 because we have 3 sports going on: NBA, MLB, and NASCAR. All sports is $20, so you save some money as well, and you can put it in my Discord chat. All right, I think that's enough shameless plugging. Let's get into today's video. And if you notice, I don't have like anything updated because it's just really early. It's like 9 p.m. I usually do these videos around 12 to 1 a.m., so I don't have any Vegas totals. I don't have like my minute projections out yet or anything. So, yeah, obviously this will be updated tomorrow, but as of right now, we do not have that available to you guys, so just bear with me. But it's 9 p.m., and I did not get like any sleep yesterday, so I should probably go to bed a little bit earlier, but I probably won't. I'll probably end up playing Call of Duty, but I'll tell myself I'm going to go to bed earlier. But anyway, let's start up top with Trae Young at 10,300. He destroyed your lineups last game. I think he scored 30-some fantasy points. Can't remember exactly, but if you played Trae Young, which it would have made sense because it was a great game environment, yeah, it sucked. I believe they were playing Memphis. Didn't do absolutely anything. Maybe it was just lingering effects from his illness. I don't know, but I expect him to bounce back here versus Charlotte. And the thing is, we do not have many great options on this slate, so I mean, it's not. I don't love playing Trae Young versus Charlotte, but I mean, we only have 3 games, and he is the top spin up of the slate, considering that Giannis is going to be out again. So, yeah, Trae Young, we got to have some interest here just by nature of this slate. And if you look at the numbers on the season, obviously they're good. 1.43 points per minute, 34.9% usage rate. The thing I don't like is this matchup here versus Charlotte. They play slow. Very, very slow. They're the slowest paced team in the entire league. But Atlanta, they play fast, and they're also playing at home, so I'd look for them to dictate the pace here, and I think this game is going to be played paced up, which obviously suits Trae Young well, but I don't like that they're playing the slowest team in the world, which doesn't mean the game's going to be an absolute track meet, but Atlanta does play fast. And if we look at the DVP chart, Charlotte, they're really, really bad versus big men. They're okay versus guards. They're 6th versus point guards. It's 19th versus shooting guards, but Trae Young's matchup proof. We've seen him drop huge games before in tougher matchups, like versus Miami. They're 3rd versus point guards. He had 50 relay points versus Miami. So not really too concerned about the matchup for Trae Young. So you can certainly look his way if you want to make him your top spin of the slate. I totally get it. So Trae Young, don't mind him. Nikola Jokic, he comes in at 9,500. He's kind of been skidding lately. Like, he had some good games before that. Then the past like 3 games, he's been in like 40, 30, I think. So he's not been playing well, but whenever Giannis is out for Milwaukee, it always just it loosens up the defense. I mean, obviously he's one of the best defenders, if not the best defender in the entire league. So if you take that guy off the court, obviously their defense as a whole is going to take a hit because he's obviously going to take the burden off of other guys that aren't as great defensively on that team because he is just so good defensively. So when you take him off, obviously we saw what the Phoenix Suns did. They scored nearly 140 points last night. So I'm not saying the Denver Nuggets are going to score 140 points, but definitely helps that Giannis is off the court. And it's going to be a big pace-up spot for the Nuggets. They play slow. They're bottom 3 in pace of play so far this season, but Milwaukee is first. It's kind of a similar situation as Atlanta because both teams are just so drastically different in the pace that they play. But I don't mind it versus Milwaukee again. They take a hit without Giannis. And if you look at the DVP chart, Milwaukee does rank 14th versus center. So it's actually one of their weaker spots on defense. They're good versus shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards. A little weak versus point guards and centers. But again, you take Giannis off, the whole defense is going to take a hit. So Nikola Jokic is fine. He's got triple-double upside every single night. He's right on par with Trae Young for points per minute at 1.43, 26.8% usage rate, but he typically plays less minutes than Trae Young, averaging more than 3 less minutes per game. So Jokic is fine. He's at a fair price point at 9,500. John Collins, he comes in at 9K. I don't love playing John Collins at this price tag when Trae Young is healthy. I mean, if Trae Young would happen to be out for some reason, yeah, John Collins would be a great play, but it just makes it tougher because, obviously Trae Young's just the ball-dominant guy there, but Collins has upside in GPPs here going up against Charlotte. I already touched about it earlier when I was talking about Trae Young, but Charlotte sucks down low. I mean, they're one of the worst teams in the league versus big men. They rank 28th versus centers and 25th versus power forwards. This is a really good spot for John Collins. And I don't like the pace down spot, but I love the matchup down low, so he should be fine. And on the season, 1.24 points per minute with a 22.8% usage rate. John Collins, I think he's a fine option. Atlanta plays fast, and any game Atlanta's in tends to be pretty high scoring. I have not seen a total app yet for this game, but I'd have to imagine it's probably, since Charlotte plays so slow and they kind of suck offensively, I'd have to imagine it's anywhere from 225 to like 230, probably from anywhere 225, 230. So it's not the worst game in the world. Both teams aren't great defensively. Chris Middleton, he comes in at 7,600. He went off versus Phoenix. I think he scored, 39 real-life points? I don't remember exactly how many fantasy points he ended with, but I want to say he probably got close to 60. So yeah, he went off, and that's pretty much the case when Giannis misses. Chris Middleton and Eric Bledsoe go off. It's just rule of law. It has to happen, and it pretty much always happens. Now, they're a little bit more expensive. Yesterday, Chris Middleton was 6,500, which is kind of just a joke of a price in general, but especially with Giannis out, it's laughable. So they raised this price tag a little bit over 1,000, 1,100, but it's still worth it because Chris Middleton is just so rock solid when Giannis happens to miss the game. So if you look at his numbers on the season, they're already good. 1.23 points per minute, 25.9% usage rate. You could justify playing him at this price tag if he was putting up those numbers. But when you take Giannis off the court, those numbers get extremely high. He's got 1.44 points per minute, 1.44 points per minute with over a 30% usage rate. His numbers are just so elite when you take Giannis off the court. The guy's a great player. I think Chris Middleton's a fantastic play. I expect him to be high owned again because when Giannis is out, that's just what you do. You play Chris Middleton, you play Eric Bledsoe, then you move on. So Chris Middleton, matchup sucks, but I think he's a fantastic play. Norman Powell, he's in play if Fred VanVleet happens to miss this game. Every game recently that Fred VanVleet is just listed as questionable, he happens to miss with the shoulder soreness. So I have no idea if he's going to end up playing or not, but let's just say Fred VanVleet's out. We can look Powell's way because he's just been playing so well. He scored 50 fantasy points the last game he was in. Now, again, I'm recording this before the Raptors are playing right now. I think they're playing right now, actually, so I don't know how he's doing. I'd have to imagine he's probably having another solid game, but if Fred VanVleet's out again, you can look Powell's way because he's going to play nearly 40 minutes, and his numbers are pretty good, 0.94 points per minute, but if you take Fred VanVleet off the court, it's around a point per minute, so you could probably expect anywhere from 35 to 40 fantasy points with upside of more. So Norman Powell, I think, is a pretty solid play as long as FVV is out. Now, the matchup versus Utah, it sucks. They play slow, but I still think he'll be a pretty solid option, so don't mind Powell. Terry Rozier, he comes in at 6,600. So there's no Malik. Sorry, I had to pause really quick, so I don't know if I just cut off myself if you were listening 10 seconds ago, but Terry Rozier, I'll just restart. He's 6,600 going up against Atlanta. Anytime you're going up against Atlanta, you're in play for me just because of how bad they are defensively, and those games always tend to be high scoring. And this is a massive pace-up spot for the Charlotte Hornets. It's pretty much as big as you can get almost. They're 30th in pace of play, while Atlanta is 4th, so huge pace-up spot. Always like getting guys in those situations. And if you look at the DVP chart, Atlanta, they're worst in the NBA just defensively in all aspects. Bottom 2 in every position besides point guard, where they're 23rd, but I mean, it's a good matchup no matter who you are, what position you play versus Atlanta. And that goes for Terry Rozier. And there's no Malik Monk, so obviously it's going to be more solidified minutes. His point per minute rate goes up. Now, I wish Devontae Graham would be out to want to play Terry Rozier, but I also like Devontae Graham. So I both think they're fine options. I prefer Devontae Graham, though, because he's 200 cheap. He's 200 cheaper. He's also better point per minute wise, and he also has a higher usage rate, so he makes a lot more sense. But I still think Rozier's fine in tournaments because I feel like more people are going to play Graham. Not saying Rozier's going to go completely unowned because it's a 3-game slate and they're playing Atlanta, so obviously, yeah, he's going to have some ownership. But I still think he's fine. If you take Monk off the court, gets closer to a point per minute, but still solid numbers all around. So Terry Rozier, don't mind him at all. Devontae Graham, literally the same exact matchup that we just talked about. So I'm not going to repeat myself, but if you look at his numbers, slightly better than Rozier. 1.02 points per minute, 24.7% usage rate. Devontae Graham, I think he's probably going to get from like 35 to 40 fantasy points, and you'll take that at 6,400. So I do think he's a pretty solid play. Will Barton, he went off last game versus Cleveland. And then by go off, I meant he went off for his 5,300 price tag, but he still played very well. They did raise his price tag up to 6K, which is the most expensive it's been in a while. But again, when you take Giannis off the court from Milwaukee, their defense takes a hit, and this is a big pace-up spot for Denver. 28th in pace-up play going up against the first pace-up play team. That's a 27-spot difference. On the season, he's about a point-per-minute guy, 0.96 points per minute, 20% usage rate. He's fine. I don't love it, but he's fine. I like the pace-up spot. No Giannis. So Will Barton, if you have 6K left in your lineup, you could do worse. I mean, he's not like a guy I'm going out of my way to play, but if he fits the end of my lineup at the small forward slot or something, yeah, I don't mind it. Small forward's always usually a weak spot anyway, besides Chris Middleton. I mean, yeah, it's a very, very good spot. And Norman Powell. But, yeah, so Will Barton, don't mind him. Eric Bledsoe, I don't understand the pricing here. They raised Chris Middleton's price up a little bit, and then they pretty much didn't touch Eric Bledsoe. Not sure what's going on, DK. You guys knew that Giannis was going to be out for this game. I don't know, but Eric Bledsoe is pretty much the lock and load play. I mean, I wouldn't understand fading Chris Middleton, but I know he's 7,600, but I'm locking him in. But I don't know, maybe people are thinking that's too pricey. I don't know, but Eric Bledsoe, 5,700 is just a joke. I mean, he should probably be priced right around Chris Middleton. His numbers are right on par with Chris Middleton when you take Giannis off the court. So, yeah, he's 5,700. Matchup versus Denver sucks. They play slow, but I don't really care. His numbers are too good. But on the season, he's at 1.16 points per minute, 23.9% usage rate. If you take Giannis off the court, he is at 1.45 points per minute. Well, he's actually better point per minute-wise than Chris Middleton, just by a hair, but still, 1.45 points per minute with over a 30% usage rate. His numbers are too strong to not justify His numbers are too strong to justify to fade him in any sort of format. Does that make any sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm making it up on the fly as I was saying it. You guys get what I mean. You're playing Eric Bledsoe, and there's no question about it. You do not fade Eric Bledsoe on this slate, especially on a 3-gamer. Don't try to get cute. The only way this probably doesn't work out is if he gets hurt. And if we could predict injuries, we'd all be living on our own islands because we could be filthy rich. But we can't project injuries, so Eric Bledsoe, he should be a smash play. PJ Washington, he comes in at 5,600. Basically anyone and everyone versus Atlanta. I don't even think I've played PJ Washington this year, maybe besides like one smaller slate, which I guess would count as this. But his price is a little up there at 5,600, but it's not the worst play in the world. He's at 0.85 points per minute, lower usage rate, but he's going to play over 30 minutes. We know that. It's a pace-up spot for the Hornets. And good spot versus Atlanta. If you look at the DVP chart, they rank 30th versus small forwards, 29th versus power forwards. So PJ Washington in a pretty good spot. I think he can get you around 30 fantasy points, which you're not complaining about at 5,600. Mike Conley, he's just been playing so well recently. I know he was so terrible in the first half of the season. Now he's starting to play pretty strong. I don't love the matchup here versus Toronto, but 5,300 still seems like a pretty fair price tag. He's at 0.92 points per minute, 23% usage rate. The guy's been playing a lot better than that recently. He's been playing closer to a point per minute, so he's probably going to play around 30 minutes in this game. Probably going to get you around 30 fantasy points with the upside of more. Now, I don't love the matchup versus Toronto, but at least it's a pace-up spot for the Jazz here. They're 27th to pace-up play, while the Raptors are 13th. If you look at the DVP chart, the Raptors do rank 5th versus point guards, 17th versus shooting guards, so it's not the most amazing matchup in the world for Mike Conley, but I still think he'll be fine. Brook Lopez, 5,100, another guy that's just pretty much usually a lock and load play when Giannis happens to be out. They raised his price tag a little bit, but not enough. And I mean, Marvin Williams is only 100 less than him, which is kind of a joke. So yeah, Brook Lopez is going to be a solid play. Don't love the matchup versus Jokic down low. Denver's been pretty solid versus centers this season. They rank 11th versus the position. So it's not like they've been like top 5 or anything, but still top half in the league versus center. So it's not like a great matchup or anything. But Lopez, the numbers are strong at this price point when you take Giannis off the court. On the season, he's at 0.96 points per minute, 17% usage rate. You take Giannis off the court, he's at 1.08 points per minute with over a 20% usage rate. So Brook Lopez obviously in play with no Giannis. Marvin Williams, he's at 5K. So I was debating on putting him on here, but I decided to because he did play 25 minutes last night. So Ersan Ilyasova actually ended up getting the start, but he only played 19 minutes and he scored 0 points and he had 7 rebounds. Not going to get the job done. I wish they never started him because I liked Marvin Williams more, and he obviously outscored Ersan Ilyasova pretty easily. But yeah, both were min-priced, but Marvin Williams ended up being the better play. So they raised his price all the way to 5K. Now, I wasn't going to list him here, but I did just because I like the minutes he got. I know he's 5K. I don't think I'm going to get there in cash games just because Brook Lopez is right there. Not that they play the same position, but I don't know. It's tough to pay 5K for Marvin Williams, especially since he didn't start. Who knows? Like if Ilyasova comes out, just blazing threes or something, they're probably going to play him more minutes. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I do have him listed on here just because he played a lot of minutes. And I mean, the numbers kind of suck, 0.72 points per minute. But if you take Giannis off the court, obviously those numbers go up. But again, he doesn't even have a big sample size of playing here on Milwaukee in the first place, and especially without Giannis on the court. So I don't know. He's probably, if he gets another 25 minutes, he'll probably get you around 20 fantasy points, which is not amazing at 5K. But if it's a small slate, it's not a lot of great options. So Marvin Williams, he's all right. I don't know. Yeah, I put him on here though. Cody Zeller, he comes in at 4,900. So the Hornets are doing a weird thing with their center. So they'll start Zeller some days, and then they'll have Biyombo as a DMP, coach's decision. Then they'll start Bismack Biyombo. Then they won't play Cody Zeller from a coaching decision, and then they'll bring in Willy Hernan-Gomez to play around 20 minutes. I have no idea what they're going to do. I'm just going under the assumption that Cody Zeller is going to get the start and play like 25-ish minutes, and if that's the case, I like him quite a bit versus Atlanta because they are a dumpster fire down low versus centers. Like they have just become awful versus big men. They're ranked 29th versus the position. That number's gotten worse and worse and worse as the season's gone on. Obviously no Clint Capella, so they're pretty soft down low. So I think Cody Zeller, he's a point per minute guy. I think he can have a pretty good game if he gets around 25 minutes. I know the one game he got like 28 minutes, which would be amazing because he's at 1.03 points per minute in the season, 20% usage rate. Again, I have no idea what they're going to do with their rotation. If by chance Biyombo gets the start and Zeller doesn't play, yeah, we're going to like Biyombo, and then we can also like Willy Hernan-Gomez. I could even throw in Willy Hernan-Gomez here now because say Zeller gets the start and they don't play Biyombo, Hernan-Gomez is probably going to get close to 20 minutes, so he'd be in play as well. It's just a weird situation, so we're going to have to make sure we keep our eyes open for the news. But fortunately, I believe it's the 7:30 game, so we should know that well before lock, and it'll be the first game that locks, so really won't have to worry about any late swaps there. We should know at least by 7 Eastern time. Then right below him, we have Dante DiVincenzo. He comes in at 4,800. Had a pretty darn solid game last night. I don't remember exactly what he did, but I know he had, I think, around 20 fantasy points. I should probably check that really quick. I know he had a pretty good game, though. Okay, so I pulled up the game log. He scored 35 fantasy points, had 16 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, and he had 2 steals. So he had a really good game, especially at that price tag. And he was 4,800 last night, and he's 4,800 again. So they didn't raise his price tag at all. And with no Giannis, we certainly got to have interest. The guy's over a point per minute guy, and his minutes are more solidified. He ended up playing 29 minutes last night, which is pretty darn good given his price tag. And on the season, he's at 0.96 points per minute, 16% usage rate. If you take Giannis off, that goes a little bit over a point per minute and close to a 20% usage rate. So Dante DiVincenzo, despite the bad matchup, when you take a guy like Giannis off the court, all these guys are going to be in play. So Dante DiVincenzo, not a bad play in my opinion. Cam Reddish, he actually ended up leaving the last game he was in early due to lower body cramps, something like that. I don't know. I think he's going to be fine because I believe going into the game it was with a back issue, and that wasn't why he left the game early. So as long as he's good to go, I know DraftKings has him listed as out right now, but the last piece of news I saw that wasn't too serious, so I assume he's going to be good to go. And also Jeff Teague is questionable for this game, so obviously that's going to be more just solidified minutes for Cam Reddish. And we also have DeAndre Hunter listed as questionable, and we also have Kevin Huerter's probable. Who's the other guy that's questionable on the Hawks right now? Oh, and DeAndre Bembry. So if both of those guys are out, Cam Reddish should get around 30 minutes again. He's been playing pretty well recently too, so at 4,500, I mean, he would certainly be on my radar. The matchup versus Charlotte, I mean, it's just a slow-paced matchup, which I don't like, but they do struggle versus shooting guards. I will say that. If you look at the DVP chart, Charlotte, they do rank 19th versus shooting guards and 16th versus small forwards, so this is a pretty good individual matchup for Cam Reddish. On the season, numbers aren't too great, 0.76 points per minute, but I like the minutes that he's been playing. He's been playing pretty well. So Cam Reddish, he's on my short list for sure at 4,500. Dwayne Dedmon, he comes in at 4,100. I love this spot for Dedmon. I expect him to be pretty popular as a nice punt at center because I feel like you could go Brook Lopez and Dwayne Dedmon and just lock up your two center spots with some two cheap guys. So I could probably see Nikola Jokic being pretty low owned. But yeah, Dwayne Dedmon, he's going to play a little bit over 20 minutes. He's 4,100. He gets an elite matchup here versus Charlotte. And on the season, he's at 0.92 points per minute. But if you look at the DVP chart, Charlotte does rank 28th versus centers. So this is a pretty good spot for Dwayne Dedmon. And I feel like he can pay off his price tag pretty easily. So that's going to be it for all the players we're going to talk about. It's not a long video at all because there's only 3 games. And the games kind of suck. So there's not too many guys to talk about. But thankfully, the Bucks have a lot of guys to talk about with Giannis being out, so at least gave us some extra couple of minutes to talk about some players and some other key talking points. But that's pretty much going to be it for this player pool breakdown. But before we get out here, I do want to talk about the sponsor, OverlayDFS.com. Alright, so if you're new to the channel, this is OverlayDFS.com. A really fun, more casual-based DFS website to go play on. It's a nice breath of fresh air compared to DraftKings. DraftKings can be a real grind. Not saying I don't enjoy playing on DraftKings, because I do very much. It's an awesome website. But, you know, there's a big grind to it. You got to build lineups. You got to worry about salary cap restrictions. You got to build projections, or at least I do. I have to build projections. And it's a lot of work. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. So if you want a more laid-back experience, I think Overlay DFS is a place for you. It's a pick'em-based website. So they give you like a matchup column of 20 players versus, you know, another player. So, for example, this is from a couple nights ago. So we had Colin Sexton versus Larry Nance. If you thought Sexton was going to outscore Larry Nance, you pick Sexton. If you thought Embiid was going to outscore Bradley Beal, you pick you pick Joel Embiid. And if you thought Luka was going to outscore Trae Young, you pick Luka, guys. It's as simple as that. And if you finish in the top 10% of the contest, you win 9x your money. And I think that's one of the best things about Overlay is their payout structure. Finish in the top 10%, you win 9x your money. To 9x your money on DraftKings, you got to win the whole tournament. And sometimes even if you win a whole tournament, you're still not 9xing your money. I know some single entries, if it's like a $100 buy-in, first place is like, I don't know, $600-700. Sometimes it's even less. So I love the payout structure here. It's awesome. They also have some really cool like extra challenges on their within their contest. So if you go 12-0 in your picks, you can take home the jackpot, which is getting close to $17,000. We're going over a 100-day rollover where no one's hit. It's bound to hit at some point, so do not miss out on the chance to hit it, and someone's got to win it, so why not you? I'm hoping it's me. That'd be really cool if it is, but if it's not, hopefully it's one of you guys watching this video, and there's no strings attached. If you go 12-0 on your picks, you can take home $17,000 right into your PayPal account. Simple as that. Well, it's going to go to your account balance first, but then you can withdraw it. So check it out, guys. You do not miss out on the chance to win $17,000 just from picking players. I mean, if you think one guy's going to score more fantasy points than the other, it's as simple as that. You pick them. You don't have to worry about fitting them to a lineup. So I like that a lot. Then they also have some challenges where if you have a really bad day. So if you go 0-12 in your picks, they'll give you $500 for having the worst day ever. And then if you play 20 days in a row, not consecutive days in a row, but like say you play once a week for 20 weeks in a row and you lose every single time, they'll refund every single dollar that you deposited. They call this their Slump Buster Challenge. So try it out, guys. They're basically daring you guys to lose. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful. If it was, remember to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Really appreciate it. You can follow me over on Twitter. I'm at ChrisPennell16. And if you want to sign up on Patreon, feel free to do so. It really helps me out. And we got a lot of sports going on. You can save a couple of bucks if you sign up for the All Sports package when we have baseball starting up this month. So I'm excited. That's going to be it for this video, guys. And enjoy your Monday.